Warning, warning, that should be the alarm bell that rings whenever JLo walks in the room. Maybe then we wouldn't have missed all these signs. Jennifer Lopez just can't seem to keep a man, a relationship, or a marriage. It seems like every 3 years we're saying another one bites the dust for JLo. She's been married like 4 times and none have lasted, but why? It's not surprising that she's been in several high-profile relationships over the years. She's been very public with each and every one of them, so we get to see, the rise and fall. And while it's not uncommon for celebrities to experience relationship challenges, JLo's personal life, and in particular her love life, has always been subject to media scrutiny and speculation. Now, it's alarming to say the least that she hasn't been able to make any marriage work, and there could be various reasons as to why, they may not have lasted. Many people blame the intense media attention, saying that her relationships are always under a microscope, which obviously puts a lot of pressure on her and her partner. Now, some people have put blame on JLo's, very busy schedule, saying she's always go between acting, singing, dancing, and any other business ventures that she's in. It seems like she's always away and always booked and busy, which, great if you don't have a marriage to maintain, but not so great if your partner is waiting for you constantly just to even go to dinner. Of course, many people have, just said that she's too selfish, too self-absorbed, and thinks that, the world revolves around her. But one person has actually flipped the script a little bit and said that she simply has a talent for picking the wrong men, saying that she needs a man who is going to be supportive and respectful of her time and commitments. Either way, it seems as though she struggles in this area of her life, and I'm actually curious to see what 2025 holds for her. If JLo is going to do one thing, it will be telling us all for decades now how she's from the Bronx. But the question that's, popped up over and over and over again over the years is, how authentic is she when she discusses this and makes claims that just don't seem to add up? JLo's 3-part self-funded album and documentary projects, This Is Me Now, the album, the movie, and The Greatest Love Story Never Told, the documentary, had some moments that went absolutely viral for the wrong reasons, of course. Now, in one clip while working out, she sees her messy hair in the mirror and very earnestly kind of references her days as Jenny on the block. She says, "I like taking my hair out like this. It reminds me when I was 16, in the Bronx, running up and down the block, crazy little girl, who used to just be so wild with no limits, all dreams." The primary complaint here is that Lopez grew up in a very nice part of the Bronx, and even still, she has lived in Hollywood for the last 3 decades and is worth $400 million. So she should stop acting like she's repping the Bronx from what is probably her private gym. Now, the funnier part about all of this is that this one particular scene apparently got rehearsed 12 times. And so it wasn't natural and just off the top of her head she wanted it to be portrayed. One person on TikTok claimed she and Lopez had gone to the same Catholic high school and accused Lopez of actually, using the Bronx to look human. She said, "We both attended an all-girls high school in an Irish and Italian neighborhood, so you weren't running up and down the block." Another person said, "Girl, you haven't been to the Bronx since 1993. Please stop." With another person adding, "She should just build a community center in the Bronx, invest in cleaning it up, putting in a nice park. She could even put a statue of herself for her ego and start, mentoring kids growing up in the Bronx." Someone even found an old photo of JLo with her hair from high school, and it wasn't giving crazy and running up and down no block. It was giving kept and clean private school energy. It was just another moment where JLo tried way too hard to be relatable, but it backfired and made her look even worse. JLo is allegedly one of the rudest celebrities to have any type of encounter with, and despite her claims of having a very humble beginning, apparently that did not instill a sense of humility in her. For years now, many servers and staff have reported, that JLo is tough to work for. In 2022, amid a TikTok storm of fans sharing negative encounters with Lopez, one woman took to the app to claim that the Jenny from the Block singer is rude to her drivers. Kayla claimed her father once worked for a company that Lopez often hired to provide drivers, and said her dad would refuse to drive JLo after hearing stories about her poor temperament. Kayla alleged that JLo does not allow the drivers to look or to talk to her, and that even if the driver looks through the rear view mirror, they could be subjected to a scolding from the diva. Lastly, she also allegedly has a very specific specific rule. They cannot let her luggage touch the ground. So like, even if it's heavy, they must carry it. Even if it's got wheels, they must lift it. Like, I just don't understand, but okay. Several TikTok users have also accused Lopez of not tipping her wait staff, but 2 stories in particular take the cake, or in this case, I guess the tip. Now, in one now deleted TikTok, a woman who alleges that she served the star claimed Lopez and her ex-husband, Ben Affleck, are notorious for not tipping servers. She said Ben Affleck had, one of the worst reputations in the casino industry, saying, "We hate him. He's cheap and like rude to other players and to staff." The woman claimed Lopez is known for being stingy, saying Lopez tells Affleck not to tip, so he doesn't tip anymore because apparently she has like instructed him not to. Another woman on TikTok, whose name is Penny, corroborated the notion of her, being anti-tipping. She claimed that a woman she previously employed at a tavern she managed in Las Vegas once shared a story with her about an experience she had while working at a casino. She claimed she spent one night serving Affleck as, he was at the poker table. She wasn't serving anybody else. And so Ben shockingly gave her an extremely gracious tip of like $10,000. However, once JLo caught wind of this big tip, she allegedly like snatched back the money. Apparently Affleck was like so mortified by this that he actually sent like a bouquet of flowers and a $25,000 tip like the next day. So it would seem as though Ben was like under her spell, and that's why he got, this bad rep for not tipping. I mean, I hope now that he's divorced and released from the shackles that she put on him that he now tips, but who knows? I guess time will tell, right? Now, these bad encounters don't stop there though. Reportedly, a flight attendant told Star Magazine that Lopez is an extreme diva and doesn't speak directly to people outside of her inner circle. So the United Airlines worker allegedly said to Lopez, "What can I get you to drink?" But Jennifer refused to even acknowledge. Like, she turned her head away and told her personal assistant, "Please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke." The flight attendant said that she wouldn't even look at him and that he was sad because, she seems so sweet in all of her movies. Another woman on TikTok, Julia Wang, shared her story of meeting one of JLo's backup singers. Wang alleges the woman was part of like a Vegas concert that JLo was performing for. She said she was so mean to her backup singers and that if you were pretty or if you were a Latina, like game over. She hated you like automatically. Wang further claimed that JLo refused to talk or even look at any of them during their many hours of rehearsal time, except for like an occasional eye roll or like a huff and puff. Wang continued to say, she just acted like a bully. Can you imagine spending time with someone working in a closed setting every single day for months and this person never even acknowledges you or acts like you exist? She shared that JLo's demeanor does like a complete 180 when a man walks into the room. She only treats the woman poorly because she views them as competition. But the second a man enters, she's like all smiles, very sweet, very soft. And also, I know you may know about this incident, but it's worth revisiting quickly because of how horrible it is. Jennifer Lopez allegedly once got a hotel cleaner fired. Prey Dodage happened to be cleaning Lopez's hotel room in Germany during her 2012 world tour. As a big fan of Lopez, Dodage, tried to ask the star for an autograph, only to have 2 of her assistants basically stop her. Soon after, Prey was out of a job. She said in an interview, a day later, the cleaning company that employed me at the hotel called and said that Miss Lopez had complained. I was fired right there on the phone because of an autograph. JLo received so much backlash for this one because she literally played the role of a hotel maid in her movie Made in Manhattan. And during the release of that film, all of her press tours for it, she talked about the importance of being nice to everyone and how she could relate to her character in many ways in hopes that people respect anyone who finds themselves in that profession. Now, it's so ironic that years later she would not practice what she preaches and would end up getting this lady fired for like an autograph request. Like, that's insane to me. Nevertheless, all of these stories are like a dime a dozen. There's like countless allegations against JLo and her very problematic behaviors. People are getting so sick of her kind of like diva-isms, and she may need to eat a big slice of like humble pie soon if she wants to gain some momentum back.
People have been suspicious of Jay-Z and Beyonce for a while now. With their wealth and power, some people have been convinced that they are not good people, and it turns out they were right. Now, for years, Jay-Z has been friends with problematic men, but right now the spotlight is on him and Diddy. Now, if you somehow didn't know, Diddy has been arrested and served with a ton of lawsuits regarding how he mistreated people at his parties. People grew suspicious of Beyonce and Jay-Z when he was arrested, as the three of them were really close. I mean, Jay-Z and Beyonce even debuted some of their new music at Diddy's parties. But it turns out that Jay-Z was actually involved in some of the crimes Diddy has been accused of. Now, one accuser says that she was a victim of both Jay-Z and Diddy. In October, a case was brought against Diddy from a Jane Doe about an incident that happened at one of his parties. Now, the suit also claimed that two other celebrities were involved in the incident, a male and a female celebrity. Now, since October, people have been speculating who those two celebrities could be, and one has been officially announced. It was Jay-Z. The lawsuit says in the year 2000, a friend dropped Jane Doe off at the VMAs at Radio City Music Hall. Now, she did not have a ticket, and she approached various limousine drivers to try to gain access to the show or an after party. Now, one driver, the lawsuit says, told her that he worked for Diddy and that she fit what Diddy was looking for. He invited her to a party after the show and told her to return to his car later in the evening after he transported Diddy and Jay-Z. Now later, the driver picked her up, the suit says, and after 20 minutes they arrived at a white house with a U-shaped driveway. Now she said she had to sign a document she believed was a non-disclosure agreement on arrival to enter the party, which the suit says was filled with celebrities. She then said while there, she was offered a drink that made her feel woozy, lightheaded, and felt like she needed to lie down. So she went into a room to rest. Now shortly afterward, the suit says that Diddy and Jay-Z entered the room with Diddy saying, "You are ready to party." That's when she alleges she was taken advantage of by both men, while an unnamed female celebrity watched. After the alleged incident, the suit says she grabbed her clothes and left, and she made her way to a gas station where she called her father. In a statement, Jay-Z called the mediation request a blackmail attempt. He also said that this lawyer, who I've done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of those type of theatrics. Now, in a statement from Tony Busby on Saturday, the attorney, he wrote, "The pleading speaks for itself. This is a very serious matter that will be litigated in court." Now, after this, Jay-Z filed his own lawsuit against the accuser's attorneys. Tony then denied the extortion claims against Jay-Z in an Instagram post in which he wrote that his firm won't allow the powerful and their high-dollar lawyers to intimidate or silence survivors. And in a statement to CNN, he said, "If you are trying to hide your identity and you claim you did nothing wrong, doesn't seem very smart to take this approach. We will address it in due course. I have confidence that with full public disclosure, all of this will sort itself out," Tony wrote. Now on Sunday, Tony responded on social media to Jay-Z's statement, saying that the alleged victim never demanded a penny from him. Now, besides people calling Jay-Z out online, musical artist Jaguar Wright called out the star months ago. In an October interview with British journalist Piers Morgan, she alleged that Jay-Z and his wife Beyonce were involved in bad practices, including keeping people against their will and even engaging in questionable activities. Wright further claimed that she had 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony on not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They are a nasty little couple. They do nasty things. Keeping people against their will, putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane unconscious, she said. Now, in past interviews, Wright has claimed that Jay-Z was worse than Diddy and accused both men of being monsters. Now, following the refiling of the lawsuit on December 8th, the internet has exploded with reactions, many pointing out that Jaguar Wright had previously predicted the situation. One user on Twitter wrote, "Jaguar Wright literally predicted this a few months ago," referencing her earlier claims about the pair. While another added, "Jaguar Wright has always spoken the truth about Jay-Z, no one listened to her." Many users are now echoing this sentiment that Wright was silenced for speaking out, with one stating, "Everyone owes Jaguar Wright an apology for silencing her voice about Jay-Z." Now, Twitter has also gone ablaze with people compiling evidence of Jay-Z being creepy creepy over the years. It seems like he had a thing for young girls, which makes his connection to Diddy and his crimes even more believable. Now, Jay-Z also appeared to be overly protective over Beyonce when they first got together. In 2003, Beyonce released the song Baby Boy featuring Sean Paul. It was a huge song, but it was only performed live 3 times. Now, that year, Jay-Z reportedly banned Sean Paul from performing the song with Beyonce at the VMAs. Now, Beyonce performed it, but Sean was in the crowd. Now, Beyonce and Sean also didn't even film the music video together, as it was reported that Jay-Z didn't want other men around her. Now, this isn't the first time something like this has happened, as in an interview, Bun B, who worked with Beyonce on Check On It, revealed that Jay-Z called during the video shoot and told all men to leave the set. Yikes, it seems like Jay-Z is just really controlling. While Beyonce hasn't done anything remotely as bad as what Jay-Z has done, she still had plenty of controversies over the years, especially when it comes to her music. Beyonce's album Renaissance was met with multiple critiques after its release. Just one day before the album dropped, Kunis slammed Beyonce for using a sample of her 2003 hit song Milkshake, allegedly without her permission. On Instagram, she wrote, "My mind is blown too because the level of disrespect and utter ignorance of all 3 parties involved is astounding. I heard about this the same way everyone else did." Though neither Beyonce nor her team publicly commented on the post, they ended up removing the sample from the Spotify version of Energy in August of 2022, but to this day, you can still find it on Apple Music. Now, Beyonce's 2011 Billboard Music Awards performance was one for the books, but it did cause some controversy. But she was then accused of copying Italian singer Lorella Cuccari and a performance she did 1 year prior in 2010. Now, Beyonce later explained that she was inspired by Lorella, adding that she had no intentions of stealing her stunning visuals. Now, stealing and being inspired are 2 different things though, if we're being honest, and this wasn't the only time she was accused of stealing something for a performance. Oh no. Beyonce, Sony, Columbia, and the pop stars Parkwood Entertainment were all sued by indie filmmaker Matthew Folks over the visuals to her 2016 album Lemonade. He also claimed that he sent Parkwood Entertainment the short film, so he knows several employees who worked on Lemonade had access to it. Now, 1 month after his June 2016 filing, Beyonce's attorneys hit back, arguing that visuals do not fall under copyright infringement. They also argued that the narrative was completely different, as Lemonade dealt with portraying an African-American woman who progresses through stages of suspicion, denial, anger, and ultimately reconciliation in her relationship. But hey, I can definitely see the similarities. Regardless, it seems like both Jay-Z and Beyonce have gotten away with way too much. And even if Beyonce did not participate in any of the crimes that Jay-Z allegedly did, she probably still knows about them, which is just gross. Starting off with the most recent event is her Maui Fund. Dwayne Johnson and Oprah Winfrey launched the People's Fund of Maui, a fund intended to put money directly into the hands of adults displaced by the deadly wildfires that had ripped through Hawaii in August 2023. According to the pair's Instagram post, every adult resident who was displaced by the fires was eligible to receive $1,200 each month from the fund. Now, the pair noted that they had kicked off the campaign with $10 million in donations and asked others to help by contributing further. After announcing the fund, the pair then drew criticism from some people on social media who questioned why they were not contributing more of their personal wealth. One person on TikTok called their video tone deaf, and some commenters questioned why the pair, as wealthy celebrities, were asking others to give instead of donating more themselves. "We can't afford it, but you can," one person commented on their video on TikTok. Others questioned why the appeal for donations was being directed at the general public rather than their fellow stars with more financial means. "This is disgusting. Ask other celebrities, not people who are living paycheck to paycheck," another person said. Now, how did Oprah respond to this? Well, she made it worse. In an interview on CBS Mornings, Oprah said that she felt she had been terrorized and vilified online. Then there were the many times that she exploited her guests. Now, one of the most prolific examples of this is when a young Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen were on the show. At the time the interview took place, Mary-Kate had been hounded by the press about her weight, with intense media speculation that the star was suffering from an eating disorder. Oprah, knowing this was a touchy subject, brought it up anyways. In the interview, she says, "I know there's been a rumor that has recently surfaced that's really upset you." Now, Mary-Kate and Ashley were both clearly taken aback by the question, and a tense moment of silence followed by Oprah saying, "You know, the one about eating." Mary-Kate was so thrown by the line of questioning, she looked almost on the verge of tears, and Ashley jumped in to rescue her. "Yeah, you know, people are gonna write what they're gonna write," she says. Now, after some awkward back and forth, Oprah asked the Olsen twins what dress size they are, and they reacted uncomfortable by saying, "I don't know," and it was obvious that the questions about their body was uncomfortable. But Oprah still pushed. When they said they weren't sure, Oprah hit back sarcastically saying, "Oh, you're not sure? That's so interesting." Another time she's been called out for not being sensitive was when she did an interview she did with Dolly Parton in 2003 that has resurfaced, with people questioning the star and her interview tactics. Some people have questioned about what Oprah was asking Dolly, how she was asking, and what exactly her goal was by probing for personal information. In the first video, Oprah asked Dolly how she's able to look so good for her age, and Dolly gives a funny answer. Now Oprah presses her harder though, noting that Dolly has been open about having cosmetic work done. It seems like Oprah was trying to have a gotcha moment to throw Dolly off and make her uncomfortable, but Dolly just rolls with the punches and admits to it. Dolly even says she'll probably continue going under the knife, and some people are pointing out that Oprah looks disappointed that Dolly flipped it in her favor. A second clip from that same interview popped up as well, and Oprah dives right into a heavy subject, saying she heard Dolly fell into a huge depression at age 40. She doesn't really approach the topic with any sensitivity, and that's rubbed people the wrong way. Then there's the strange people she's had on her show. In 2007, Oprah brought Jenny McCarthy, the Playboy model and actress, onto her show to talk about autism. Jenny's young son, Evan, had suffered a series of seizures when he was young and was later diagnosed with autism. Jenny was then adamant that vaccinations Evan received caused his autism. Now, Oprah gave her story a platform and unwittingly started the panic we know today. During that interview, Oprah never challenged Jenny's views either, and Jenny had no scientific evidence to back this claim up. Then, if you didn't know, Oprah has a book club, and she added James Frey's book A Million Little Pieces to the reading list. Now, when James was promoting his books on talk shows or other media outlets, it was referred to as a memoir. But large parts of the story were later found to be exaggerated or fabricated, sparking a media controversy. Now, this was discovered after an investigation was conducted by the Smoking Gun. They determined that James had actually fictionalized some of his story, and controversy arose after Oprah initially defended the book, but she later confronted James on her show. I mean, at least she did her research about the book, but her helping spread misinformation is truly dangerous, and she hasn't taken a lot of accountability. And of course, we have to mention her scandal in South Africa. When the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls opened in Johannesburg in 2007, Nelson Mandela, Tina Turner, Sidney Poitier, Spike Lee, and Oprah herself attended the ribbon-cutting ceremony celebrating the landmark boarding school founded with $40 million of Oprah's money. But less than a year later, 6 of the 152 students who had been personally selected by Oprah to attend the institution came forward to accuse dorm matron Virginia Tiny McGabo of mistreating them. She was then arrested in November 2007 and released on bail, and she faced 14 different charges. "It has shaken me to my core," Oprah said of returning to South Africa with a team of private detectives to investigate the allegations and to personally speak with the girls. "This has been one of the most devastating, if not the most devastating, experiences of my life." Now, it seems like she and the organization did not look into who they were hiring and how the operation was running. Now, this all could have been avoided. Now, following the first trial, Oprah was sued by the headmistress of the school for defamation. She alleged that Oprah defamed her by implying she was covering up the mistreatment going on at the school. However, the case was later settled outside of court before the arranged trial, according to CNN. Now, that's not all that happened here though, as speculation of numerous missing girls from the academy spread like wildfire across social media. However, the validity of these statements has has not been confirmed or denied.
Alright, number 10, The Lobbyist. It's no secret that Tom Cruise thought his latest movie, maybe wasn't going to be as successful as he wanted it to be. Now, we're not exactly sure what his box office goals were, numbers wise, but we're getting pretty niche here with the 7th movie in a franchise. First came out in 1996. Listen, Tom, you are not Star Wars. We can't keep doing this. He definitely didn't stray away because Cruise lobbied top Hollywood executives over a phone call saying he really wanted to promote his film despite all the strikes going on with actors, writers, and stunt doubles. And I think there might be some greater issues at hand here. I haven't really been seeing much promo for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 anyway, so maybe things will be different in 2024 when Part 2 comes out. And yes, it will be the 8th Mission Impossible, and yes, it's said to be the last one, but I have a feeling Mr. Cruise won't be able to let go of the franchise. That just, keeps him living in luxury. Up at number 9 is Short-Tempered. Now, remember that shaky video footage of Tom Cruise that leaked? He was losing it on set. It was the peak of the pandemic, and We Are the Gold Standard was born. In a rant of fury, Cruise noticed some of the crew were not following the rules. They were standing a little too close together, so instead of a normal conversation, he began shouting and swearing at a group of people in the video. You can kind of hear him say, "If I see you do it again, you're effing done." And the rest of his sentence is plagued with many more F-bombs, and he just kind of sounded like he was disciplining a bunch of high schoolers and not adults. He continued with, "We are the gold standard." Like, what does that even mean? Because those working conditions did not look gold standard at all. Alright, at number 8, we have talk show antics. Ah yes, the moment that will follow Tom Cruise to the grave. He probably regrets it, but it certainly made the world question the sanity of the famous actor. It was 2005, and Cruise had just gotten engaged to now ex-wife Katie Holmes, a fellow actor, and it's great to talk about loved ones, on shows to whoever, but it was Cruise's physical behavior that would lead to Oprah calling him her worst guest ever. Now, back then, Cruise, he still had female fans because his antics, that was just starting to come to the surface. The strangest thing about this interview, though, that made history was just how much contact there was, physically between Oprah and Cruise. I mean, it looked like they could have been a couple. Cruise had been constantly, reaching over to touch or wrestle the host, and I don't know. He then began jumping up and down on the couch and just acting very erratic, something, we'd never seen him do before. Overall, it was an odd display that was, a whirlwind act, because we know, of course, Tom and Katie were never meant to be when they separated after 7 years together. Number 7, the micromanaging lover. Tom Cruise was said to be a much more controlling romantic partner than we thought, but it really explains why Katie Holmes felt like she had to save her daughter Suri from him. But the story goes that Cruise was very controlling of his girlfriends and wives, and it was the very thing that would make them try and, leave the relationship. When he was with Katie, he controlled when she could see her family and exactly what she was doing pretty much at all times. He was said to monitor her around the clock, and she wasn't really the first. Now, his other ex-wife, Nicole, he did leave her, but Nicole Kidman had suffered, a similar fate. She wasn't allowed to wear high heels when she was with him on the red carpet and whatnot because he didn't like that Kidman was taller than him. She expressed her joy of being able to, wear what she wanted after the divorce, and of course, looked thrilled in the photos of her coming out of finalizing the divorce. Next is number 6, the invisible parent. Tom Cruise is nowhere near being as involved with his kids as their mothers, which, some might say is expected of a father, but the reason he hasn't seen his daughter Suri in more than a decade is pretty terrifying. Now, if you know anything about the religious cult Cruise is involved in, well, you might know about all the terrible things they've experienced, such as a high number of people taking their own lives and the massive mistreatment of both men and women, but especially women. And I'm sure Suri's mother, Katie Holmes, caught on to this, a little too late, but just in time to create a new normal life for her daughter. Oh, and I also had no idea Tom had actually adopted a son and daughter with Nicole Kidman because he never talks about them. Interesting. And moving along to number 5, Bryce divorced. Yes, the courageous actor has tied the knot with 3 separate women and has been in casual dating scenes since his most recent divorce, which was to Miss Holmes. His first wife, Mimi Rogers, was actually the one that got him into the religion that he practices today and has landed him in some hot water. Now, there's of course nothing wrong with getting divorced, but if you never learn your lesson and keep ruining people's lives with your rigid beliefs, well, that's another story. While he was married to Rogers in 1990, he explained one day, suddenly, that he wanted to become a celibate monk. He of course never ended up doing this, but hey, it was a pretty good excuse to make your wife want to leave you. Let's move on to number 4, no female fans. So back in the day when he starred in the original Top Gun and, a few years later, War of the Worlds, Cruise still had many fans who were women and just, adored him. But when he started going against famous women who, they also adored, well, things got a little messy. For one, Cruise came for actress and model Brooke Shields for using antidepressants. He said it was irresponsible, which is quite the opposite of the truth. And in an interview, he claimed to know the history of psychology to back up his point, and, he then later had to apologize for his hurtful words because he realized, people were offended. He also acted rude and arrogant towards the women sailors that helped with the production of Top Gun Maverick. He then forced top-ranking army officers to, come out and say that these women simply misinterpreted instructions. Yeah, for sure. Up next is number 3, the Paramount Brawl. In 2006, Paramount, the studios responsible for Cruise's Mission Impossible movies, had announced they would be fully cutting ties with the actor based on his behavior outside of the movie set. They said he was basically taking his and the company's positive reputation away by acting crazy on Oprah and expressing some pretty extreme views. So Paramount came out with a statement saying, quote, "His recent conduct has not been acceptable to Paramount. He had never behaved like this before. He really went over the top." Well, the truth was he was losing them lots of money and his popularity rating went down by 40% just from 2005 to 2006 alone. Now, would you have sided with Cruise or Paramount? And at number 2, we have Too Much Power. You've heard of some of the highest paid actors in recent years, and Cruise has been one of them, but many have been raising the suspicion that the actor is being overpaid and given too much power in certain circumstances. And yes, Cruise has gotten away with a lot of crazy things. In 2022, Cruise was making more than Will Smith, Leonardo DiCaprio, Dwayne Johnson, and all of his fellow male Hollywood megastars. But many began to question the need for the $100 million in 1 year and an estimated $1 billion in revenue over his entire career. Now, unfortunately, he's actually put a lot of this money into the infamous church he's a part of, $25 million to be exact, and he's not as keen on giving to the less fortunate, with charitable donations tallying up to about $5,000 per donation. And at number 1 is converting the Beckhams. Tom Cruise once attempted to convert the Beckham family parents, David and Victoria, to his high-profit and controversial religion. Victoria and David Beckham are royals in the sports and fashion industries, but they were almost religious moguls in the world of the ultra-rich when Cruise made an attempt to lure them to the dark side. In 2007, it was common to see the famous couple out and about with Tom Cruise. Apparently, Cruise wanted David in the club so bad, he had a soccer field built on the premises of headquarters to woo Beckham into, joining him, but he still denied the offer. Yikes.
Number 10, the TMZ documentary. Earlier this year, TMZ released a documentary surrounding Britney's life and relationship to Sam. Throughout the doc, it's revealed that the relationship may seem fine on the outside, but in reality, they had been having problems for a very, very long time. According to the documentary, Sam and Britney would fight constantly to the point where Sam's bed became the pull-out sofa in the living room. The doc also took aim at Britney's bad habits, claiming that she was hooked on caffeine. But not like, oh my god, I love coffee, It was more like, I want coffee now! Apparently, she had a rather strong craving for Red Bull and would reportedly drink it by the gallon. Her need for caffeine and high-energy substances led them to speculate that Britney was trying to cope with the difficult emotions regarding the relationship. Britney came out and claimed that she never drank energy drinks, sticking mainly to green teas and watermelon juice. Meanwhile, Sam denied several things from that documentary, but he didn't deny the caffeine control problem. Number 9, the cheating allegations. One major reveal from these two getting a divorce is that some proof has been revealed that shows the couple did in fact fight a lot. A few months ago, TMZ actually reported that Sam had accused Britney of infidelity, causing them to have a nasty verbal spat, leaving Sam out of the house and in need of a place to stay. According to the article, Sam had seen messages between Britney and a contactless phone number that were flirtatious in nature. When he confronted her about them, she was more mad than anything else. Sam went through her phone, which was, hey, not cool. The fact that they were both so quick to anger rather than solving the issue like adults was a major red flag for fans and was the first real heads up that these two were probably heading for disaster. Number 8, the overcompensation. Now, there have been a few times where this couple has flaunted their success in the face of the world, whether it be their extravagant trips to Maui or their wedding ceremony. Money seems to make the world go round for these two, but their overcompensation may be a cry for help. The pair have always been seen with something expensive either behind them or beneath them. For instance, when they were married a little over 14 months ago, the ceremony was drenched in money. The wedding dress that Britney was wearing was a white Versace gown with a long flowing veil. Sam was also in a Versace suit, and in attendance were roughly 100 guests, including Drew Barrymore and Selena Gomez, and even Madonna showed up to this thing. Everyone looked so friendly and cozy, and then they drove away in a beautiful Rolls Royce. Now, I understand wanting to spend a lot of money on your big day, but these guys partied so hard. There were hundreds of thousands of dollars in goodies at this thing. Apparently, the ceremony was not all smooth sailing though, as a few hours prior to the start, Britney's ex-husband Jason Alexander made his way onto the property where he was not invited. A security team took him down and held him until the cops arrived. Now, whether it was the universe or Jason's jealousy, the rocky start to their ceremony was certainly a warning that this was not going to work out. Number 7. Sam's typecasting. Britney is of course a pop singing sensation, which means that she's filmed a few music videos in her time. One of the first red flags came very early on in their relationship. They met on set of her music video for the song Slumber Party as her love interest on the song Slumber Party, where he played her love interest and arm candy. Sam had previously been featured in a music video for Fifth Harmony where he was also a hunky silent man, but this time he was a construction worker. Spending so much time with Sam as her man in the video must have convinced her that he was her one and only. Following the rap, these two continued to see each other constantly, with many paparazzo spotting them out at dinner or shopping. But it was revealed in the TMZ documentary previously mentioned that Britney continued to treat him as some pretty face that she was meant to direct. He recalls several fights over the way that he was being spoken to or the way that things were being done. Over the following months, anytime they were photographed together, they just looked awkward, like they're posing for a picture that they just really don't want to take. Number 6. The New York Times defense. Asghari. Asghari spoke out to defend Britney after a New York Times documentary took a closer look at her life and career amid her legal battles against her father, Jamie Spears, removed as her conservator. He told people it was important to understand that Sam had zero respect for someone trying to control their relationship and constantly throwing obstacles in their way. He wrote to his Instagram story in February of 2021 that in his opinion, Jamie is a total Dick Van Dyke. Not really, he just said. He also said, "I won't get too deep into details because he respected his own privacy and he did not come to this country to be held back from expressing his opinions." The comments came a day after he gave a statement to People magazine amid social media speculation about Britney. He held a very solid defense and maintained that any and all rumors about himself or Britney were just not true. The rumors, of course, were that the couple had been suffering some kind of an issue, but it was behind the scenes. Of course, it turned out every single one of the rumors were true, with the possible infidelity scandal being the only one that's yet to be proven. So, the big question is, why did Sam deny the allegations so hard if he knew that there was something to them? Why spend more time with Britney when he seemed to have some idea that it wasn't working out? This was all before they were even engaged. So why would Sam double down? These are all questions that I wish I could answer, but until Sam or Britney respond to my emails, I got nothing. Number 5. Sam's painful smile. Since the split was announced, more and more articles have come out of the woodwork containing various pictures from over the years. Now, this entry is for entertainment purposes. I didn't find anything to back up this theory, but can we just agree that this man looks uncomfortable like half of the time he's with Britney? In a ton of pictures you can see he has this nice smile, but there are some where he just looks disheveled, like Britney just stepped on his toes moments before capturing the moment. My theory is that Sam has been trying to send us subtle messages, literally photographing himself crying for help. Now, I know what you're thinking, but hear me out. This guy is a professional model. It is his job to smile and look good on camera, but for some reason when Britney is around, his instincts go away and instead he goes to, please go away. There are several photos of them in the most beautiful places in the world where one should not be able to wipe the smile off of their face. But Sam looks like he just smelled something terrible and it might be Britney. I don't know if there's much to that one, but hey, you never know, and yes, I'm aware I just spent a couple minutes roasting a model. No need to remind me I'm not one in the comments. Number 4. The workout takes. Britney's husband Sam is of course involved in the fitness world. Just look at this guy. His body is fueled by protein powder and Joe Rogan's podcast. But Sam actually used to be a bit of of a heavyset man, going through a massive weight loss transformation before ever meeting Britney. The story seemed to inspire her, as throughout the majority of 2019 and 2020, Britney and Sam were chronicling their fitness journey as a couple online, sharing workout clips and publicly tracking their goals. While doing a small interview for the Associated Press, the couple told the outlet that they took over 40 takes of their intense workout, with Britney claiming to have been in an enormous amount of pain. However, the fact that they cared about getting the right take so much is a massive red flag. Instead of just working out together and bonding, they decided to get as much clout as they could. The more uploads for these two, the better. Sam was barely bothered by the workout. In fact, the entire time you can see him silently judging Britney. If they were truly in love, Sam would have seen her pain and made her comfortable, but instead, she was made to suffer. Number 3, they couldn't even share a bike together. Taking one of the top spots on our list is the most concerning and disturbing red flag of all. These guys had a chance to share a tandem bike together, and they didn't. What? In June 2019, Britney posted a picture of herself and Sam on bikes riding through a park with the caption, "I'm so blessed to have this in my neighborhood." To which Sam cheekily commented, "Do you mean the lake or that handsome gentleman?" There are 2 red flags here. The first, of course, being that the pair are simply riding bikes together and not on a 2-person bike like they do in the movies. The second is Britney's wording. In the post, she never actually says anything nice about her hubby. She responds to his comment, but it wasn't filled with love, it was filled with sarcasm. As I will mention later in this list, when it comes time to post things about lovey-dovey stuff, Britney has a tendency to forget about Sam. I have no idea if some of these things are true on this list. This is for entertainment purposes, but man, I wish I had a direct line to Britney Spears. That would be a very interesting phone call. Number 2, Sam sleeps on the couch. When it comes to a lover's quarrel, Sam and Britney are expert fire starters, able to rile each other up in an instant. One of the major reveals since the announcement of their split was the confirmation that there was a significant fight at some point in recent history. A story revealed in the TMZ documentary that Sam was spending most nights on the couch, wishing he could figure out what he did wrong. They had been having issues over the public image being presented by news outlets because they were somehow getting crucial information that caused severe stress for the couple. Whenever they would try to deal with their problems though, it ended in a massive blowout. Not long after the TMZ documentary was released, Sam was seen spiraling in public. Photos have since been wiped from the internet, but the idea of Sam sitting somewhere sad is not a fun sight. Britney was probably in the exact same state, which may explain some of her more questionable behavior this past year. Don't believe me? Just check out her TikTok. And at number 1, he loves her, but she doesn't love him. One major sign that this relationship was not working out were the several posts made about each other and the huge differences between them. Whenever Sam posts something about Britney, it's like he's trying to write her a poem every single time. It's so eloquent and well thought out. Whereas when Britney posts the photo, it's just like, luckiest girl around, #park date. This poor dude is laying awake at night trying to come up with a sweet way to wish his girl a happy birthday online, but Britney's the type to just send a cake emoji and a little winky face. Through the majority of their relationship, there are dozens of examples of Sam trying to be a sweet man and express himself when Britney is just giving him very little back. Sure, if it's a special occasion or something, she'll make a nice big post or snap a pic, but it's nothing major. Throughout their entire relationship, it's very clear who is putting in the most effort, which is why the news of her possibly cheating on him is devastating to fans. So far, there is no proof that this has actually taken place, but something tells me that more info will be revealed over the next few weeks.
The road to marital bliss hasn't always run smoothly for Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. Kunis was disproportionately aged to Kutcher's 19 years old when they met on the set of That 70s Show back in 1998, an age difference that adds a retrospective ick factor to their constant on-screen makeouts. And while there may have been a spark of something by the time the show ended, both stars were busy following independent dating lives, including Kutcher's 8-year marriage to actress Demi Moore. All told, Ashton and Mila had known each other for 14 years before they finally began exploring a romantic relationship back in 2012. Since then, they've welcomed 2 offspring and have been admired as Hollywood's, power couple. But is their relationship as solid as it first appears? People grow and change, so hey, maybe the idea of once a cheater, always a cheater may not hold true. Still, cheating is a red flag that demands close attention in future relationships. For instance, matchmaker Susan Trombetti pointed at Ashton's history of infidelity as a persistent warning sign in his current marriage. She mentioned who can forget him cheating on Demi Moore on their anniversary. So Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore were married between 2005 to 2013, and according to Demi's memoir, he cheated on her at least twice. Whatever arrangements that he and Demi shared and agreed on prior didn't include that for sure, as evidenced by how physically devastated and hurt Demi was. Trombetti further pointed out that Kutcher even lied to other women entangled in his love triangle, assuring one falsely that he and Moore were separated. One of the most challenging parts of dating a celebrity is likely dealing with tabloid rumors, and this was definitely true for Ashton and Mila back in 2013 when gossip columnists began to wonder whether or not he was actually really being faithful to her. As Hollywood Life reported at the time, a woman named Sarah Leal claimed to have proof that Ashton was dating a friend of a friend. Apparently one of her co-workers sent her a photograph of Ashton in his PJs, and oof, it was an intimate photo, to say the least. In an interview, Leal contemplated the significance of the photograph in question. She said, sure, it could be an innocent picture, but I also think it's possible he's not dating Mila exclusively, not just because of that photo, but because he's cheated before. And that would definitely be a red flag for me if I were dating someone who had cheated on their wife. I would hate for Mila to have the same experience as Demi. And although it's impossible to verify these allegations, it's worth noting that Leal's been previously honest with the press. In 2011, she told US Weekly that Kutcher had pursued her while he was still married to Demi Moore, which those claims were confirmed. But the real crux here is Ashton Kutcher's lack of trustworthiness and pattern of lying, both of which are bona fide relationship enders. Once again, going back to our matchmaking expert, how can we believe any relationship he has? It might be easier to swallow if Ashton had shown any signs of changing his ways or pursuing clear personal growth, but as has been observed, he rushed into things with Mila so soon after his divorce that there was definitely no time wasted in processing such behavior or changing as a person. Healthy relationships require mutual respect, which has been a fundamental component of this romance. As one celeb critic has pointed out, Ashton cites his admiration for Mila as the main point of falling in love with her and accelerating the relationship. And while that sounds like a good thing, the loss of that respect could pose a serious red flag. Losing respect and admiration for each other kind of erodes the bond and love for each other. And unfortunately, the couple's mutual admiration may be on its way down. In a 2021 appearance on Hot Ones, Mila slammed Ashton for comments made during his own appearance on the program. She first fact-checked his preparation for the role of Steve Jobs in Jobs, which involved extremely and unhealthy measures. She was like, yeah, he's downplaying it. He was so dumb. He only ate grapes at one point. It's so stupid. He ended up in the hospital twice with pancreatitis. It was really dumb. And well, honesty between sweethearts is refreshing. It's an awfully blunt way to talk about your hubby on camera. And that wasn't the end of raking Ashton over the coals. She called him a liar about getting rid of his That 70s Show wardrobe, shouting at Ashton as he waited off screen. Now sure, these comments were delivered with a smile, but even seemingly harmless jokes can be signs of problematic behavior or more deeply rooted relationship issues. So look, this romance kind of escaped any kind of criticism for a long time, despite the whole Demi love chaos kerfuffle. However, outrage did erupt over the couple's role in the trial of their former That 70s Show co-star, Danny Masterson, putting a new spotlight on this couple and their life together. To make things brief and to be internet safe, folks, Danny was convicted of some pretty heinous crimes. He's been sentenced to 30 years in prison. That's all I can say. Mila and Ashton, among others, wrote letters of support for Masterson's character in hopes of lightening his sentence. And as one expert explained, this couple was united in writing their letter to the judge, trying to show leniency towards their friend. And when the letter became public, there was a large outcry and criticism of the couple. And then the two released an apology video. Now, copies of the video are still easy to find. We have a copy of it. But while issuing a quick apology seems like the right first step, expert critics point to the video as cloaking some deeper red flags here, because it did not seem to the experts that Mila was speaking from her heart on such a critical issue. There might be a rift in the couple's values and responses to crises. In the long run, such dissonance could create more severe lesions in the relationship. One person summed it up best, saying, they need to be aware of being divided on issues that truly matter. For all couples, celebrity or otherwise, retaining some individuality and meaningful interests outside your relationship is kind of important. And unfortunately for Mila and Ashton, the fallout from their letters during this trial has also impacted their external sources of fulfillment. So following all the outrage, and rightfully so, both halves of the couple resigned from their positions in the organization that Ashton co-founded, literally to stop crimes of this nature, which is kind of a doozy for us to hear. It must have been a doozy for him. Apparently his position as board chair was truly significant to him, and a lot of people were concerned that Ashton lost something that gave his life meaning and purpose beyond acting or producing entertainment. And missing that crucial sense of purpose could put a strain on Ashton, and by proxy, this relationship. Possibly being lost without a rudder and a goal of passionate significance could cause any marriage to greatly suffer and be negatively affected. In other words, this couple might need to redirect their passion and fulfillment somewhere else or risk long-term damage to their overall happiness. Meaning and purpose are the motivation to arise every day and live a fulfilling life, and without those cornerstones, it could spell trouble for happiness in this household. There's no shame in forming parasocial relationships with your favorite celebrities, but how well do you really know them? So, in wake of the whole trial, a lot of fans have had doubts about the authenticity of Ashton and Mila. Going back to our celebrity matchmaker from earlier, she shared some hints about public sentiment following the debacle and what it might indicate. Because for one thing, going back to that video apology, it's been controversial to say the least. It's a half-hearted attempt at an apology, and it had to be awful and devastating for any victims to see. It also just came across as self-serving, insincere, and it was really like, we're just trying to save our reputation, which is kind of a far cry from the image of the genuine sweethearts that the couple had previously cultivated, and naturally calls into question how much of their public life is reliable. A disconnect between public persona and personal life can be a huge relationship red flag, not to mention that such a visible fall from grace would put pressure on any couple, because being a hypocrite is just an example of how you can't trust who anybody really is. Actions speak louder than words. So, in other words, while it all may seem, good and fine and dandy from an outsider's perspective, we really don't know these guys or the true state of their relationship. So when it came time to film the 5th episode in season 1 of that 70s show, Mila was feeling nervous because she had already read the script and she knew she was gonna have to kiss somebody. But here's the problem. She was the youngest person in the cast. She had never been kissed. Ashton was a 19-year-old Calvin Klein model and an actor whose age made him much too old to be smooching somebody so young. Well, years later on the Rosie O'Donnell show, Ashton himself would admit, Mila was a certain age when they started the show, and everybody's like, okay, you guys are gonna be making out in this scene. And he's thinking like, wait, this is slightly illegal. Well, despite that, apparently Ashton attempted to French kiss Mila during the scene because Danny Masterson bet him $20 he wouldn't do it. So Mila mentioned that she had to close her mouth to prevent Ashton from slipping her the tongue. Just so gross. So gross. As far as first kisses go, this one showed no respect for Mila's feelings. It was just, ugh.
Unfortunately, One Direction member Liam Payne passed away this week, and he had been struggling for a long time, but it appeared that he never got the help that he so desperately needed. Liam was staying in a hotel in Argentina where he fell off the 3rd floor balcony, 45 feet, and passed away almost instantly. Reports have surfaced that the star was acting erratically and that he was most likely drinking and taking substances. Now, the hotel staff actually called 911 before he fell, citing that they had a guest that was out of control, who was trashing his room and disturbing guests, and they also said they were worried for his own safety. Unfortunately, the police didn't get there fast enough, as when they arrived, he had already fallen and passed away. Now, the public prosecutor said lack of defensive injuries on Liam's hands indicated he did not adopt a reflective posture to protect himself from the fall, meaning that he could have fallen into a state of semi or total unconsciousness. Now, this was most likely due to him being under the influence. Buenos Aires police also said they found Liam's hotel room in complete disarray. They saw various items broken and recovered packs of energy supplements and other over-the-counter medications found among his belongings. Forensics teams also reported authorities recovered a whiskey bottle, lighter, and cell phone from the internal courtyard where Liam was found. A statement from Argentine authorities suggested that Liam was going through some kind of substance episode. While extremely upsetting, Liam had been open about his mental health and addiction struggles. In July 2023, he posted a YouTube video telling fans that he was in a rehab facility for 100 days. I just needed to take a little bit of time out for myself actually, because I became somebody I didn't really recognize anymore. I'm sure you guys didn't either, he said. I was in bad shape up until that point, and I was really happy more than anything when I arrived to kind of put a stopper on life and work, he said. Now, at the time he filmed the video, Liam said he had stopped drinking and had been sober for nearly 6 months. It's good to be in this position, he said. I definitely don't need those things anymore. The party's over. Now, unfortunately, with what we know now though, he had relapsed. While speaking to Men's Health Australia in 2019, Liam opened up about the lonely aspects of fame and said that he began drinking to help process his feelings. Now that year, he also revealed that he had gotten sober for a year and that therapy had helped him have a healthier relationship with alcohol. Then in 2021, while appearing on an episode of the Diary of a CEO podcast, the singer also recalled the heavy drinking he would do while stuck in his hotel room during tours. When we were in the band, the best way to secure us because of how big it got was to just lock us in our rooms. And of course, what's in the room? Minibar. So at a certain point, I thought, well, I'm going to have a party for one, and that just seemed to carry on for many years in my life, he said. Now, he drank to help cope with his fame, but he also suffered from anxiety and depression. In an interview, he once said, "I developed a bit of agoraphobia. I would never leave the house. And I do sometimes suffer with it a bit in the sense that, like, I'll get days where I just don't want to leave my house, even if that's just going to the shop," he said. In another interview, he talked about struggling with life, saying, "There's some stuff that I have definitely never spoken about. It was really severe, and it was a problem." Now, with all this information in regards to his passing, it also has people questioning if it was really an accident or if something else was at play. He said he did have some support though, that his former bandmates were always there for him. At the time in 2021, he said he was getting support from his bandmates. "I had a lovely phone call from Harry the other day. He was checking in on me. It's almost as if some people got a sixth sense about when you're going through something and want to check in." He added, "He's very much like that. He's a lovely boy. I love him to pieces." Now this year, he even attended one of Louis Tomlinson's concerts and Niall Horan's. He always supported his former bandmates and stayed in touch with them. Now what's so heartbreaking is that he attended Niall's concert just a couple weeks ago on October 2nd. He posted photos of the two of them on Snapchat with the caption "Reunited." Now Liam even met fans and everyone was excited that he was there. But there was more trouble though, as Liam's ex-fiancée Maya Henry had spoken out against the star and how he mistreated her during their relationship. She called their relationship toxic, said that Liam was manipulative, and he would threaten to pass away and then blame her. She said that she and her family offered to get him help in a rehab facility, which he ignored. She also stated that she sent him a cease and desist letter after he allegedly wouldn't stop contacting her, repeatedly coming up with new phone numbers and iCloud accounts. Now in February, Maya announced her fictional book, Looking Forward, inspired by journal entries she wrote while dating Liam. Now back in February, she alleged that Liam called her mom at the time and said, "I'm not going to be around much longer." Maya also alleged one of Liam's friends also called her, warning her to not release the book for the sake of his mental health. It appeared as though he was manipulating her again to get what he wanted. But she released the book in May, and it has some pretty shocking revelations about their relationship, illustrating Liam's anger issues and how he and his team put her through horrific situations hidden from the public. Now that's not all though, as Maya claimed that Liam contacted his fans via Snapchat and other social media platforms. She added that Liam even admitted to taking advantage of One Direction fans because they are loyal to him. Then fans came forward sharing their own experiences with him. One fan posted on Twitter, "It's only right that I share some evidence that the girls are finally speaking out about this Liam situation. I have screenshots dating back to 2017 to June of this year. What he has done to many of us fans over the years is absolutely disgusting. We deserve better." Now there are other screenshots that fans have posted, and it's honestly just so messed up what he was doing. Now with all this being exposed, everyone on social media was hating on him and calling him out for his disgusting behavior, which I'm sure got to his head and led to him drinking and using substances. Now, a lot of so-called fans are blaming Maya for Liam's passing, saying she is to blame and if she didn't speak up, none of this would have happened. But it's not Maya's fault. She's a victim who told her side of the story, and Liam was responsible for his own actions, no one else was. Regardless, his passing sent shockwaves all around the world. Fans have spoken up about their grieving, and a memorial was set up outside of the hotel he was staying at. There's even going to be a meetup on Sunday for fans in London to remember the star. Thursday morning, his family put out a statement regarding his passing, saying, "We are heartbroken. Liam will forever live in our hearts, and we'll remember him for his kind, funny, and brave soul. We are supporting each other the best way we can as a family, and ask for privacy and space at this awful time." Liam's uncle, Roger Harris, also spoke to Mail Online and said, "We're all just deeply saddened and trying to come to terms with it. I just hope everybody gives them some privacy really and allows them to come to terms with it. That's all I can say." Then, Thursday afternoon, former One Direction members all made individual posts online to honor Liam. Now, they actually also posted on their joint Instagram account for the first time in years. Their statement read, "We're completely devastated by the news of Liam's passing. In time and when everyone is able to, there will be more to say. But for now, we'll take some time to grieve and process the loss of our brother, who we love dearly. The memories we shared with him will be treasured forever. For now, our thoughts are with his family, his friends, and the fans who loved him alongside us. We will miss him terribly. We love you, Liam, Louis, Zayn, Niall, and Harry." Now, honestly, when I saw this post, it really hit me that Liam passed away, and it sunk in for a lot of other fans too, which is just so sad. We have Liam's friends, families, and fans in our prayers as we learn more about his tragic passing.
This is a recent photo of Ariana Grande. It looks like she has had major weight loss, and some are concerned it's an unsafe amount of weight loss. Ariana Grande responds emotionally to criticism over perceived weight loss. Ariana Grande, whose recent appearance has led to public discussion about her weight, revealed that she has faced scrutiny about her body since her teenage years. She shared that she has learned to navigate these comments by focusing on her work and surrounding herself with supportive friends. Ariana, in an interview, said, "It's incredibly difficult to shield oneself from such commentary. The discomfort arises regardless of the perceived change in weight." Ariana emphasizes that this scrutiny, even from well-meaning sources like family members, can be deeply unsettling. She explains, "Even at a family gathering, if someone's grandmother remarks, 'Oh my God, you look thinner, what happened?' or 'You look heavier, what happened?' It's an invasive and distressing experience, regardless of the nature of the comment. I believe our current society has become overly comfortable with making such observations, which is deeply concerning. But the reason why her weight loss is coming up again right now is because of how extremely thin her appearance is." Wicked controversy. The highly publicized romance between Ariana Grande and her Wicked co-star Ethan Slater, while he was still married, generated significant controversy and backlash. The homewrecker accusations stemmed from the public perception that Ariana Grande's relationship with Ethan Slater began while he was still married to his wife, Lily J. This perception led many to believe that Grande's involvement contributed to the breakdown of Slater's marriage, leading to the accusations. From homewrecking to Ariana Grande being caught on video surveillance footage inside a California donut shop. The video showed her licking donuts displayed in a glass case, an act considered unsanitary and disrespectful to food safety regulations. Furthermore, while interacting with the bakery staff, Grande was heard saying, "I hate Americans, I hate America." This statement, captured on the video, sparked widespread outrage and criticism. Disrespecting America, her statement, "I hate Americans, I hate America," was widely condemned as unpatriotic and insensitive, especially given her large American fanbase. Pete Davidson controversy. Ariana Grande publicly embarrassed Pete Davidson through her music. Thank You Next. Grande's song Thank You Next is believed to be about her past relationships, including Davidson. Some lyrics might have been perceived as critical or hurtful, potentially causing embarrassment for Davidson. The relationship with Pete Davidson was very intense and fast-moving. During their 5-month relationship, which included a 4-month engagement, Grande and Davidson acquired an extensive collection of matching tattoos. Both of them were ready to settle down and spend the rest of their lives together. But then things shifted very quickly for Ariana Grande. Taylor Swift and Ariana Grande have been feuding for years. Scooter Braun for sure has a lot to do with this. One significant factor is the involvement of Scooter Braun, a prominent music manager who managed both Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande. Braun's acquisition of Taylor Swift's masters in 2019 sparked controversy and a public feud between Taylor Swift and Scooter Braun, potentially creating tension between Swift's camp and Grande, who was associated with Braun. The 7 Rings copyright controversy stemmed from accusations that Ariana Grande's 2019 hit song, 7 Rings, plagiarized elements from other musical works. Similarities to Pretty Boy swag? One of the most prominent claims was that 7 Rings bore striking similarities to Soulja Boy's 2008 song, Pretty Boy Swag. particularly in terms of flow and delivery. Critics pointed to perceived similarities in the rhythmic structure and vocal inflections. Soulja Boy himself publicly expressed his belief that Grande's song sounded like his own. Beyond Soulja Boy, You Need It, I Got It. Hip-hop artist Josh Stone, who performs under the name Dot, filed a lawsuit claiming that 7 Rings copied the hook from his 2017 song, You Need It, I Got It. Stone alleged that the hook in Grande's song, I Want It, I Got It, I Want It, I Got It, was strikingly similar to his own song's hook. This lawsuit eventually settled out of court.